Our project is called Ribbon. I'm Miles, and my team members are Kelly, Dave, KJ, and Tay. When our group started creating this calendar, what we wanted to do was to create something that more accurately mapped our tasks and events by visualizing them better, and it informs us on how to spend our time and help us plan our day. I'm going to start by dissecting the existing calendar, such as iCal or Google Calendar. These are examples of the grid-based calendar, and more specifically the grid-based day. Each event here is shown by a gray block, and the size of the block is dictated by the duration of the event. One of the first things we noticed is that everything is ordered chronologically. This makes sense because we wake up in the morning and we go to bed at night in a linear fashion. Although this is a basic element of most calendars, we felt that it should be more prominently visualized in our calendar. The next thing we noticed was the hierarchy of these blocks. If I were to order these by importance without knowing anything about them, I would probably put the largest block as most important and the smallest block as least important. My reasoning behind this is simply that the larger block seems to have more importance because of its size. This means that events with a longer duration, thus the larger block size, seem to be more important. This is obviously not always the case. Take a job interview, for example. It's a very short event potentially, but also very important. Even though this misinterpretation of information is not the intent of the calendar system, it's still something that happens and something we think needs to be fixed. The next thing we noticed in a grid-based calendar are the gaps in between each event. This represents that there is nothing scheduled at this time. But what it implies is that there is a void between these events where nothing is happening. These gaps represent the transitions in our lives from one thing to another, and we think they should be represented as equals compared to the regular events. Our final observation is the general lack of organization or grouping in a grid calendar. We knew there were a lot of connections and similarities, but we couldn't actually see this. We felt this was an important issue. From here, we took these observations and turned them into a system.
So the first problem we wanted to tackle is that our lives are continuous, whereas the current calendar represents them as segments on a grid. So we flipped the orientation to move all of the days in a month into a single line, and then we turned the days on their sides to make one continuum. This shows how your life flows and does not jump from grid to grid or block to block. Next, we wanted to determine priorities, so we came up with the concept of rigid versus fluid time. Events that exist at the top of your calendar are things that need to be done immediately, such as going to the doctor or going to class. Things that are represented lower down on your calendar can be done within a span of time, such as doing a homework assignment or getting coffee with a friend. And finally, things at the very bottom of your calendar are things that are just in the back of your mind throughout the day. Next, we wanted to show the connections between events because there's no stopping between them. There's always something that ties them together. You're either thinking about something, working towards something, or traveling to something at any one time. This led us to our final interface, which we called Ribbon, which allowed the user to see what their priorities are at any time, but also gave them the fluidity to put small sticky note reminders at the top for things that didn't exist within the structure of our calendar.
From this point on, I will be narrating Jack, a working professional with a busy family life, using our calendar. Right now, he's viewing the calendar at 7:50 a.m., and he's been up for about an hour, but he can see that his priorities are starting to ramp up, starting with his morning meeting. Because he's using Ribbon, he can see more than just the beginning and end of his events. He can also see how everything connects together and how his priorities will pan out. Jack is first going to click on any of the unscheduled tasks that he needs to do at some point. This brings up a window that shows any events, in this case related to Jack's client, that don't really fit into his schedule yet. He is going to need to complete these eventually, but right now he can already tell his schedule is a little too full. He instead decides to tap on his Lunch with Client event to see what tasks he needs to complete. So Jack can see that he needs to upload a file to the Dropbox so that he can share the information with his client, as well as call a cab so he can make it to lunch on time. The cab could come later, since it's only 7:50 a.m., but right now he can't upload the file because he has it completed. So all he needs to do is go over to the Files menu, drop down his directory from his iPad, and drag the file directly into the Dropbox. This way he and his client can stay organized. Now he can go back over to his tasks and check off that he's uploaded the file to the Dropbox. This is only one example of how Ribbon can keep Jack organized. By connecting tasks, events, files, and people under the umbrella of Ribbon, it makes prioritizing your busy life much easier. Next, Jack wants to plan something for his free time, so he swipes through his calendar to see if he has any openings. The following Tuesday he doesn't have anything scheduled, so he can put something there. A morning jog sounds nice, so he draws in the shape of the event. He includes some time at the beginning and end for preparation and recovery, because he knows he's going to need it. He puts it as a medium priority event, because it's not super important. He can skip it if he feels like it. Jack suddenly has a great idea. Why not invite Frank to go along? Frank agrees and also suggests going to breakfast. Jack's morning run has suddenly become much more involved, so he makes the changes to reflect this. He brings it up to a higher priority, as well as lengthens it so that they have enough time. This has been a quick demo with Ribbon showing just how easy it is to schedule your day. Thanks for watching.